All right, for this typographic portrait, typographic refers to using text, so we're going to be using some text inside of there. First thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to locate an image, whether it be your image or something online would be fine for this kind of a project. Also notice that this particular image has a very clean background. That will make the process a lot easier and a lot more simplistic for you. It takes the focus to the person and not so much in the background. So this particular image was the one I chose in honor of the late Prince. If you right click on the image, I'm going to save that image. I'm going to go ahead and rename it and click save. So with that, you know exactly how to get it back. I'm going to go ahead and open it in Photoshop. And this particular one, I'm going to go back to my pictures in my library. I'm going to go by and then go ahead and open that up. I do want to look at the size of it. If it's too large of a document, you're going to want to downsize it. I can check my image size. This is 11 by 14. That should be just fine for this. If it's 8 by 10, something like that, it should be fine. If it's tiny, I would upsize it a little bit, at least to a 5 by 7 or 8 by 10. If it's really big, I would actually downsize it to help with file size. Definitely no larger than this. So I have my image, and the very first thing I'm going to teach you how to do is a very marketable skill. And that's actually creating and making your own brushes, your own Photoshop brushes. And for this, we're going to make a new document. And I'm going to have you do a very simple document. We're going to go with a 7 by 5 inch height. And we're going to go with a very low resolution. You don't want it to be a huge document. These brushes are not meant to be huge. So we're going to go ahead at this stage and say, okay, so again, it's a 5 by 7 with 72 resolution. And in this particular box, you're going to go ahead and start typing some things in, and things that should be pretty familiar with who your person is. So I could use song lyrics, which in this case would be a really good idea. Again, if I click and hold, got to give it a second because your type tool is pretty advanced. Takes a lot of stuff to get that to run, so definitely make sure you take your time. I'm going to use my regular horizontal type tool. Realize there is a vertical type tool as well, but I'm just going to do regular horizontal type. Okay, I'm going to click and drag open a text box, and I want to make sure that I am in black for this particular project. If I do a brush with typing that's of a different color, my brushes will not be fully opaque. It'll be somewhat see-through. We don't want them to be see-through unless we want that to happen. For font size, notice I can just click there, and I can actually upsize it as needed. I'm going to go ahead and begin. I might, complete misspelling there. So I might actually put this, and instead of being on one line, I might bring it onto 2. Notice I can go to my character menu here. If you don't see it, go to Window and press Character, and I can actually change the spacing. This happens to be auto. If I reduce that a little bit, that's 48. This is 60, and I think I like 60 better because it puts the letters together a little bit closer. I can also change my my font. Like, that's pretty cool. Once this is highlighted in here, you can actually press your down arrow and actually take a look and see what this happens to look like. Maybe I'll choose that one because it almost does remind me of rain. So you're going to want to find something that matches with your particular set of words first and foremost. Really, really important because you want it to look good. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just select something. I would suggest keeping an eye, making sure it's not too delicate. If it's too delicate, sometimes for the dark areas of your picture, it doesn't look very believable. So you do want to make sure you're picking something that has a really nice finish. Okay, so my fonts may not be the same exact fonts as yours. Definitely keep that in mind because you're going to want to make sure to pick something that matches. Let's go. There we are. Let's go back to that one. Okay, so I can keep that, and I'm going to click off of it and then back on. It's really important that you're on the layer with your text. At this stage, you're going to go ahead and go up to the Edit menu, Define Brush Preset. At this stage, all you have to do is say OK. When I go to my brushes, and I go to my click right here to blow it out, if I scroll all the way down, right there is the brush I just made that says Purple Rain. And that doesn't have to just be text. That could be a drawing. I'm going to do one more text, and I'm going to do one drawing or one picture, and I'm going to show you basically how to do that. At this stage, I can take that one, I can throw it out, I can start it over again. I'm going to go ahead and begin working on another one. So let's put Little Red Corvette. And then I'm going to change that text. Again, I'm going to highlight that in blue. I don't know, that for some reason just hits exactly what I wanted on that one. So right there, I'm going to go back up to Edit, Define Brush Preset, OK. I go to my brushes, I double check, and there it is right there. Okay. At this stage, I can delete that particular one. I could actually go over to here and print a symbol, which you should all probably be familiar with seeing many times on the news. And I don't want to pick one with a transparent background. It's really important that it be a white background, only because that causes some problems sometimes when importing it and making a brush from it. Now on this one, I am going to have to do some erasing. So I only want the black on its own layer. I'm going to magic wand. I'm going to select that black, and then I'm going to press Control J, because Control J makes a copy of it. If I undo all of that, you can see that I now have just the black image on the checkerboard background. Okay, Edit. I can define brush preset. There it is. Say OK. Now going back to my other image, I'm going to start using it. I'm going to go ahead and begin working. You want to make sure you've got a well-balanced image. If your image looks very gray, you're going to want to Control L. You're going to want to go ahead and balance it so that you have a really nice finish on this particular image to use. So balance your image. Maybe make it a little bit contrasty, but I think you'll be just fine. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go up to the Image menu, Adjustments, and then Posterize. Posterize gives you almost like a cut edge look to it. But I noticed something. I thought this was a pure black and white, but you can see actually a little bit of color coming up. Very important. Before we get going, you're going to want to desaturate. Image, Adjustments, and then we're going to go up to Hue Saturation. So you want to go to Hue Saturation and take away all color. No matter if your color, full color, if you think it's a black and white, just desaturate on everything. Okay, so we're now ready to go. I'm going to go ahead back to Image Adjustments, Posterize, and on this particular one, you're going to see I'm going to keep a 4-level posterization. That's exactly what I'm going to want for this particular image. Do not go any higher. Again, the higher you go, the more it looks like a regular photograph. The lower you go, again, you're getting a different feel to it, but 4 is exactly what we need. You can just type the number in there and say OK. All right, so you're going to go ahead and use various levels on this particular image to put your text in. I'm going to show you that on the next video. We're going to go ahead and save this work. You can save as, and you can call it Prints. Maybe I'll call it Glaze Prints Typography. Oh, there we go. And then hit Save. Okay, you don't want it to be too small of a document. And there we go, it's saved. I'm going to go ahead and pause this video. We'll begin working on how to actually use those brushes. But again, in this video, you learn how to create brushes. You learn how to open up a particular image, and then you learned also how to get it converted to a black and white and then posterize.